Hey guys, my name's Alberto, aka Destroyer 48. Welcome to my Destroyer channel. If you're here for the Breakfast Club review, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and comment, and blah blah. Who cares? F the world. F stands for forget the world and all the corruption that's in it. All right, so I'm gonna go over. We're gonna go over scenes from the Breakfast Club. That's the 1985 movie, The Breakfast Club, directed by John Hughes, um, starring Judd Nelson, Emilio Estevez, Ali Sheedy, Molly Ringwald, and Anthony Michael Hall. So um, here's what it looks like. It actually this is a cover, but there's actually the movie inside. That's the way it looks like. The back. That's all of them. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. Uh, the covers are nice on both of them. This is the original, I believe, and this one's the other one. All right, so let's get started over the review and go over some scenes over the Breakfast Club. All right, we got the beginning of this film. They're at a high school in Chicago. They're all being dropped off for Saturday detention. Um, you got Claire, which is played by Molly Ringwald. She's with her dad, and it's already said that in the conversation with her dad in the car that she went skipping to go shopping, and that's why she's there for Saturday detention. Um, Andrew, played by Emilio Estevez, is in a Bronco car with his dad. His dad's getting after him because he screwed up, and they haven't said exactly why, but he is also there for Saturday detention. Allison, played by Ali Sheedy, is getting there, and the car drops her off, and it looks like they have her sitting in the back seat, and they ignore her, like they don't even want to talk to her. They drop her off. Um, Brian, played by Michael Anthony Hall, is there with his mom and little sister in his car. They're dropping off, saying he screwed up too, and they're dropping him off. They're getting after him. Drop them off. Judd Nelson, played by John Bender, played by Judd Nelson, is he's the only one that doesn't arrive in a car vehicle. He's walking in his trench coat. It looks kind of cold outside, and the car that dropped off Allison has almost hit John Bender while he's walking. So they're getting there in front of school, and they're gonna go into this Chicago high school to serve their detention. So they go inside, and it's going to be in the library detention. Now the principal's name is Vernon. That's his last name, and he gets they sit in their tables. They're all different tables in the library. And Vernon's gonna tell them not to be sleeping, and they all have to write an essay. He gives them all pencils and paper to do their essays. And there's a lot of smart. John Bennett does a lot of smart talking, saying that Vernon has raided Barry Manidill's wardrobe, and Vernon has already gave him for John Bender making fun of Vernon. Vernon's already gave him another Saturday detention. He goes, to answer that question, you can be here next Saturday. Don't mess with a bull, young man. You get the horns. That's what Vernon tells Bender for smart talking him. So they're there and they're acting. All the students are there. Uh, so you got Claire and Andrew sitting in the front desk. Bender's right behind them. He throws a paper behind them. Bender's also looking down at Brian that's sitting on the. It's funny because Bender had ran off Brian from his seat, and Brian had to go sit in the table next, the other table. beside Bender, and Bender's staring him down, just harassing the students. Allison is sitting in the back, real quiet. She's all loner, doesn't know how to dress up properly. As the film progresses, it really gets turned on when where Bender decides to go to the door in the library. It's a heavy door. He takes a screw out, and it closes the door. And Vernon's office, or the office he's staying at, was close to the door, so you keep an eye on the students from afar. Vernon sees the doors closed and comes and gets after. He didn't catch John taking the screw out of the door, but he assumes it's John's fault because John is a bad apple. He's like a punk ghetto guy. And so the door's closed, and the funny part is that Vernon tries to put Principal Vernon tries to put a chair in front of the door, and it doesn't hold, and the door slams on him. He gets Andrew, the jock, the athlete, to go move some shelf thingy, a heavy shelf thingy that has books in it and stuff like that, to keep the door open in the way. But John says that it violates a fire code, so they have to take it out again. And after that, they take the shelf back out. The door has to just close now because it doesn't have a screw in it. And Vernon gets after Bender. They get in arguments and stuff like that over the door. And Bender keeps talking back at Vernon, and Vernon keeps giving him more Saturday detentions because Bender's talking back to Vernon. Brian tries to intervene. What does he say? That's 6 Saturdays. And then Vernon's like, you stay out of it, tells Brian. And then Brian says that's 7, something like that. And then Vernon tells him, shut up, Pee-wee. Not to be interfering with him, arguing with Bender. Later on, the other thing I want to talk about is is Bender starts harassing Claire, just harassing her, telling her bad things, making fun of her. She's a virgin, making fun of her name, all that. Andrew tells Bender to leave him alone, and they get in a scuffle. And before the scuffle, they just get in a scuffle. They're gonna fight. Bender puts his hand in Andrew's face like this, and Andrew he's a jock. He's a sports guy, so he's in the wrestling team. So he takes down Bender and has kind of like a cop, has him restrained, but Bender's is like eating floor with his face on the floor, and Andrew is on top of him. And then Bender says, I don't want to get into you, man. And then Andrew's like, why not? And then Vernon's I keep getting Vernon and Bender's names mixed up. Bender, the Hood, tells Andrew, because I'll kill you. It's real simple. That he'll kill Andrew, and his parents will make a big case about it, and Bender says he's not gonna want to even bother with the whole situation. Andrew's like, whatever, and then Bender takes off a knife. Wow. And then he sticks it on a chair. And then Andrew's just saying, "Hey, leave Claire alone." And then Allison, you can see her in the background, taking out the knife, stealing the knife. She's a thief. She's a thief too, like a loner and a thief. Um, so that was Bender and Andrew scuffle. After that, they're gonna have lunch. The Vernon says it's lunchtime. He sends Andrew. Vernon wants to send people to go get sodas for lunch, and Vernon points to Andrew. Andrew's pointing like, "Hey, send me with with Claire," but no. Vernon makes Andrew go with Allison, so Allison and Andrew are gonna go get the sodas for lunch. They and Allison and Andrew, while they're getting the sodas, they get to know each other by talking a little bit. Actually, Allison brings up asking Andrew, "Why are you here?" While they go get the sodas, and Andrew doesn't want to tell her. He just tells her. He just double talks or whatever. Now we're back in the library and they're having lunch. Um, they're all eating weird stuff. Andrew has a lot of food. He brought like cookies and a sandwich, a lot of stuff. Claire and Bender are staring at him. Allison has a sandwich, but she's putting popcorn in it. She puts a lot of salt in it, and she's drinking her Coke. She throws a ham from the sandwich on top of some weird statue there. I like the part with Brian and John Bender, and because Bender's like, "What are we having?" And then Bender's like, "A substantial kind of lunch, whatever." And he has a thermal. What's it called? Thermal that has some kind of juice in it, and Brian's reaching for it, and then John Bender slaps his hand, like, and it's Brian's food, so it's funny. He says, "What are we having? PB and J's with a crust cut out." And then Bender says, "Well, Brian, we have a substantial something lunch. Did your mom marry Mr. Rogers?" "No, like Mr. Johnson." "Oh, okay." Bender's gonna make fun of Brian and says, "This is a life at Big Brian's house." And he goes like, I have to change the words because of YouTube. It goes, "Son, yeah, Dad, how's your day, pal?" "Great, Dad, how's yours?" "Super." "Say, son, why don't we go fishing this weekend?" "Great, Dad, but it's that I have homework to do." "That's all right. You could do it on the boat." "Jeez." And then it says, he imitates the parent. "Son, isn't our son swell?" "Yes, dear. Isn't life swell?" "Oh, oh." So John Bender's making fun of Brian that he's a geek, I guess. And then Andrew asks Bender, "How about your family?" And then John goes, "My family, ooh, that's real easy." John Bender imitates his dad. "Stupid, retarded, no dealing, son of a witch, retarded. You forgot lazy and disrespectful. Shut up, witch. Go make my turkey pie. Dad, what about you, Dad?" "F you." "No, Dad, what about you?" "F you." And then Andrew says that's all fake, it's all baloney. And then John's like, you don't believe me?" And then Andrew's like, "No." And then John Bender goes to Andrew and says, he picks up his shirt on his wrist. He has a smoke cigar thing where his dad burned him. He goes, "Do you believe this? Do I stutter? This what you get when you spill. He says, "This is what you get when you spill paint in the garage." He goes, "I don't need to be with you effing people anymore, whatever." And he goes crazy and he climbs up the stairs like a monkey, like all crazy. So what has happened is from that cigar thing, John Bender is saying that his father physically abuses him and stuff like that, and he comes like from a broken family. um, After that time and just going by, they're looking at the time. They talk to the janitor Carl sometimes. Carl tells them that he looks in their lockers. Um, so so later on, what ends up happening is next they're gonna go. They're actually gonna go go run the halls, where they start walking the halls, and they're following John Bender. Why, I don't know. They don't have to go follow him. Why are they following him? But they're following in the halls, and if Vernon catches them, they're gonna get in trouble. So they're walking the halls, and then they get to John Bender's locker, and Brian keeps asking, "Hey, what are we? Why are we following him? Why are you following?" Yeah, exactly. Why are you following them? You don't have to follow them down the halls. And they all went. Even Allison went. They get to John's locker, and it's all messy. They're like, "It's real nice," and then John's like, "Hey, my maid's on vacation," and it turns out that John Bender has marijuana in the locker, and he's got in it. It's wrapped up in a plastic bag. They spot Vernon. They all start running. Um, I think they're trying to run back to the library, but they keep running and running. I don't know how Vernon doesn't hear them at every turn, or they see Vernon. Vernon doesn't see them, and they keep running. John Bender's like, "Let's run this way," and then Andy's like, "No, we're gonna go this way." And John Bender's like, "You don't know what you're talking about." And he's like, "You don't know what I'm talking about. We're going this way." So John Bender's gonna run with them, and then they end up hitting some kind of metal fence where they can't go. I think they're going back to the library, but it looks like they're going somewhere else. This part I don't understand. But John Bender ends up saying, "You know what? Go back to the library." So, and John Bender's gonna run through the school in the hallways and start yelling to distract Vernon from going after them to go after him. Vernon hears John singing. He's singing some army song. "I want to be an Air Force Ranger" or something like that, or an Army Ranger. I don't know what. Um, John Bender ends up in a gym. Vernon gets in there, starts getting after John, saying, "What are you doing here?" John Bender, get after John Bender, saying he's going for a scholarship. He has a basketball. Yeah, he even put on like basketball shoes, one of them, whatever. Vernon says, "Give me the ball, give me the ball," and then John's like that with a ball. And then he rolls it. He rolls the ball to Vernon. Vernon kicks the ball, and almost hits John Bender. Vernon takes John Bender back to the library where all the students are there now, and he's telling all the students that they're gonna have to be without John Bender's services for the rest of the day. John Bender and Vernon in front of the kids, the students, they start yelling at each other. Um, John Bender looks really mad. Vernon's really mad too, and it's really fun. You have to watch it if you have not seen this. Um, John Bender said, "Let's go." I mean, Vernon said, "Let's go." Tells John Bender, and he's gonna take Vernon's gonna take John Bender somewhere. And I like that part. It's cute. When they're taking John Bender, John Bender gives his glasses to to Andrew, saying it's for better hallway vision. Saying that, I guess it's saying like there's those glasses that can look at girls with, and they'll take off their clothes, whatever. On the way out of the library, Vernon takes John Bender out. John Bender's like pushing stuff off the shelves while dropping them on the floor from the library on the desk. And Vernon takes John Bender to, it looks like a closet room. It looks small. And Vernon gets after him there. And he threatens John Bender or something. And he tells John Bender, hey, hit me right here. It gets really hectic. And Vernon tells John Bender, I want to see how tough you are. I want to see you take one swing right here. Come on, take it right here. Vernon's trying to trap John Bender into punching and hitting him, saying, stuff also like, who's going to take your word or mine, whatever. And John Bender said, are you threatening me? He's like, yeah. So Vernon has left John Bender in that room as like a prisoner hostage, and he locks the door. That's what Vernon has done to John Bender. Now John Bender, I'm gonna say John or Bender. I keep saying it. I'm sorry. So John is gonna get climb out of that room, going through the vents, the roof, and all that, and he's saying a joke too about a lady in a bar with a pig with a wooden leg, whatever. Saying a joke while he's crawling through the top. He's gonna try to rejoin the students. I don't know why, but that's what he wants to do. So he goes to the vents, and then when he gets to the library, he falls through the roof, and then there's a big commotion when he falls. Vernon is in the restroom. You can hear him in the stall saying, "Hey," he's saying like, "God Almighty, what's that?" And then John, he rejoins the students in their desks. He's like, "Hey, I forgot my pencil." And then Vernon comes in and says, what was that ruckus? And they're all giving him stuff like, what was that? What ruckus? And they're just playing with him. And then John, he goes, well, I'll say just Bender. Bender goes under the desk to hide from Vernon. He goes to hide right under Claire's legs, or under her desk. And they're all trying to make distractions when Vernon keeps saying, what was that noise? They're trying to help Bender not get caught. But this part, Bender's looking, and because Claire has a skirt on, and since Bender's under Claire's desk, he's looking at her in between her legs. I'm trying to watch it with YouTube policy. He's looking in between her legs and seeing her underwear, and he starts putting his head towards her, and Claire, she squeezes her legs to trap John Bender's head from reaching her underwear or her crotch, whatever. And Vernon's like, he kind of gave up. He goes, I have not caught you in the act this time, but you bet I will. Allison starts laughing. You make book on that, Missy. That's what Vernon tells Allison. And he says, I will not be made a fool of. Vernon, he walks out, giving up on finding what was the noise, and then it turns out he has like paper toilet, like all hanging out from his butt, showing that he was in the toilet. Everybody starts laughing. Claire starts hitting John in the back, calling him an a-hole, and then John's like, sue me. He tells Claire, sue him. After that, Bender goes to another part of the. Oh, Bender first he takes out the marijuana bag from Brian's pants, and he's gonna. It looks like he's gonna go other part of the library and go smoke it. Everybody ends up going except for Allison. They're all gonna go smoke weed with John. It'd be Claire, Andrew, and Brian. Allison stays back and she doesn't go for some reason. They start smoking weed. Um, it doesn't show Bender smoking the weed, but it shows that Claire's smoking the weed and so is Brian. And they're smoking weed together. Brian's doing an imitation of a black guy with glasses on, smoking and stuff. They're acting silly and stuff. Claire's acting all prissy that she's a prom queen or whatever, and she's so popular. Andrew goes to a room in the library where they have, I don't know, a radio or something or a sound system, and Andrew's going crazy, running around doing flips or whatever, cartwheels on the top of the library because I mean the library has upstairs. He's up there, and there's marijuana smoke all over that room he's smoking in. He runs and all that, and after he does his routine, Andrew goes back to that room where it's full of smoke, and he yells and he breaks the glass, and Allison's like, "Wow." Vernon is caught. Vernon is doing some other stuff. He's caught in the basement looking at confidential files. Janitor catches him and says, "Hey, um, like Vernon's afraid that the janitor is gonna rat him out. He's looking at personal, confidential files from teachers and stuff." Carl says, "You got $50." Because Vernon says, if you like it, what can I do for you so you don't rat me out, kind of deal. And then Carl's like, the janitor says, "You got $50?" And he's like, "What? $50?" So it's like Carl wants $50 so he can keep shushes not to rat out Vernon for looking at teachers' confidential files in the basement. We go back and back to the library. Andrew's talking with Brian and Allison, and Allison finally starts talking. Turns out she stole Brian's wallet. She gives the wallet back to Brian, and they're just talking all that. There is a scene where once Allison starts opening up and starts talking, that she has a lot of stuff in her bag. They all think she wants to run away, or they think she wants to run away. Allison goes to one of the behind a bookshelf and looks like she wants to cry or she's gonna cry. And Andrew tells her, "Hey, what's going on?" And she doesn't want to talk for a while, and she gets after Andrew, criticizing Andrew's behavior, saying that Andrew. No, she just doesn't approve of Andrew's behavior. Saying that Andrew does everything everybody asks him to do. And then Andrew gets after Allison, and Allison finally says what's wrong. And she says what's wrong with her parents, and Allison says her parents ignore her. At this time, John Bender's with Claire, and it's funny because Bender's going through Claire's stuff, and he has, I think, the thing they do the makeup with, some kind of brush thing. He's brushing his teeth with it. And the part I like when Bender's talking with Claire, um, um, Claire is looking at, I think, at at Bender's wallet has all these girls and all his girlfriends. And then Bender says, "Why do you have so much stuff in your purse?" And then Claire says, why do you have so many girlfriends?" And then Bender's like, "I asked you first." And then Claire says, "Well, I guess I never threw anything out of my purse. I never threw anything away." And then Bender says, "Well, neither do I." And she's like, "Oh." So it's funny comparing how much junk you have in your purse compared to how many girlfriends John has. Go back to Carl and Vernon. They're just talking, and they're talking about Vernon's life, that he is not happy with his kids. He's very miserable. And that's what they're talking about. After that, the group of students are sitting on the floor somewhere in the library, and they're talking, and they're revealing stuff. We already know that Claire, in the beginning, talking with her dad, that she is in there. Yeah, they're mostly talking about why are they there. In the beginning, when Claire was with her dad, her dad already revealed that she went skipping school to go shopping. So she got caught. So that's why she's doing Saturday detention there. I forgot to mention earlier that when Bender was fighting with Vernon, Bender is there, the hood rat. He's there for pulling doing a false alarm, pulling out a false alarm in the high school. One of those things to pull the false. You don't know what he's pulling the false alarm, so that's why he's there. Brian ends up. Well, I think I'll go with Andrew first. Andrew's the one that's there because he was wailing on some kid in the locker room that was weaker than him, and he taped his butt together, and skin came off and all that. So they caught Andrew. That's why Andrew is in there. It's kind of like assaulting a student. And then Brian, the geek. It turns out he's in there for he had a flare gun in his locker, and he wanted to kill himself, and it went out of the locker. So that's why he's there, for having a weapon on campus. It's not a flare gun, but it's still dangerous, and that's not allowed on school property. So that's why they're all there. But the big case they make is against Brian, because that Brian actually wanted to kill himself. And they're all just talking there, and then it's revealed that Allison, she asked the group, "Why am I here? You want to know why I'm here?" And she goes, "Why? What's the reason I'm here?" And it's like, "Nothing. I had nothing better to do." So Allison just went to Saturday detention just because she had nothing to do. Why are you gonna go to school detention? So she mustn't have no life if she just wants to. Be in Saturday detention. Like, wow, you must really not have a life. She didn't do nothing wrong. She just wanted to be there because she had nothing better to do. Okay, and they all started laughing at her. There was a point where Bender, Claire does a trick where she puts lipstick in her blouse, and she puts the lipstick on like that, and then Bender says that Bender starts making fun of her, saying her image of her is completely blown. Allison makes fun of, gets mad at Bender for that, but Allison also, before in their sit down, was also picking on Claire why she's a virgin, and got her mad. Bender was picking on Claire as well. What did Bender pick on Claire about? Saying that her mom's a drunk and all this stuff. Making fun of her earrings. I mean, Bender really got down on her and started telling her stuff. and yeah, made she Bender made Claire cry, telling her things, harassing her, making fun of the earrings. Andrew did not defend her this time. Bender started making fun of Claire that she started crying because he made her cry, telling her bad things and stuff like that. But yeah, but now we know why all of them, why they're there, why they're serving Saturday detention. Um, After that, they have the dance scene. They're all dancing. They put the music loud again. Andrew's doing air guitar. They all they all start doing weird dances. They're very entertaining dances. Claire and Allison are going like this, and then they have their hands in their pocket and they're moving their face. They're really, I can't explain it. Really cool, iconic dance routines they're doing together. All three guys at one point are dancing together in a line on top of something. You gotta, if you haven't seen it, you gotta see it. It's, I like it. It's 80s music. After that, it is shown that Bender is now climbing the on the ceiling or whatever. He's climbing it again, and he's gonna go back to where go back to that room he's supposed to be at. You know, because he's you know it's probably almost time to go. You see Andrew, Brian, and Claire. They're sitting somewhere in the library. Um, Claire's asking Brian to remember the papers supposed to write in the beginning. She asks Brian to write all their papers for them for Vernon, and he's like, "Okay, I'll do it." Claire then tells Allison, "Come on, let's go somewhere." And then Allison's like, "Where are we going?" And then Claire's like, "Come on." And Claire starts dolling up Allison because Allison looks like trash. Um, Claire is starting to put on makeup and doll up Allison. Um, Claire goes to visit Bender in the locked room he's at. He has not returned. Claire opens the door and kisses Bender on the neck, and then Bender's like, "Why'd you do that?" And I think Claire says, "Oh, because you let me," or something like that. I don't understand why. Because remember at the sit down when they're all sitting down on the floor, John Bender made Claire cry. So it's like, why is she kissing him on the neck if he made her cry? Maybe she likes bad boys. That's my best guess. I'll bring this up at the end. Excuse me. Um, Allison has now walked where to the original desk they're sitting at, and Brian's writing their letters, and he sees Allison's all dolled up, and she looks beautiful. She does not look like trash because Claire dolls her up with makeup and stuff. Andrew sees Allison and is like, "Oh, like, man, you're beautiful." And it's so cute because Allison's like, she looks at Brian when Brian's looking at her with glee, like, "You're beautiful." And she's like, "Thank you." It was a nice expression Brian put on her face, like she's beautiful. And she does look beautiful. And I was like so romantic. And looks like Andrew has found a girlfriend or something. So they're all walking out. Detention's over. Um, they're all walking out. Andrew's holding hands with Allison. I think Bender's holding hands with Claire, and poor Brian's by himself. And they're walking out. Detention's over, and Bender tells Carl the janitor, "See you next, see you next Saturday in the hallway." Um, when they get out, uh, when they get out on the street, out in front of the, well, in front of the school. Andrew starts kissing Allison. Oh, romantic. And Andrew has his football jacket on, and Allison takes the patch off Andrew's jacket to remember him. Oh, it's so cute. Maybe they're gonna be boyfriend and girlfriend. And it's real cute because um, Andrew is trying to is I guess Allison. I think she has like a sweater or something. He's holding onto a sweater, and Allison's like taking it away, like she has to go. Allison takes off in her car. Andrew's dad picks Andrew up, and I think in a Bronco. John Bender and Claire are. It's really weird. Claire's dad's car's right there, and John and it's like Claire's leaning against the car, and John Bender kisses her right in front of her dad. I'm like, okay, whatever. Isn't the dad gonna get mad, or maybe he's too freaked out of shock not to say anything? And then Claire gives John Bender one of her earrings from her ear, and John Bender puts it on. John Bender starts walking away, and so Claire leaves in her car. John's walking away on the football field, and then it goes back to Vernon is reading Brian's letter. He only wrote one letter. I thought he was supposed to write a letter for everybody, but the letter says something like Brian says, "Vernon, I don't think it's fair. You want us to tell you who you think you are. We know what you think of us. You see one of us as a brain, an athlete, a princess, a basket case, and a criminal. So the brain is Brian, the athlete is Andrew, the princess is Claire, and the basket case is Allison, and John Bender is the criminal. And it shows at the end that Bender's walking through the football field, and he goes like this, like they roll or something, or I guess he's happy about it, about his experience on Saturday Detention, and then he has like 8 more Saturday Detentions to go after that. And the last song comes out. How does it go? It's an iconic song. How does the song go? Um, it's a really good '80s song. Well, anyways, but the song at the end, what I'm trying to say, I don't remember the name of the song. My brain's not working right now. I've already said too much. Um, it's really iconic. The song is really good at the end. You have to see the ending. Um, Maybe it'll come to me in a little bit. My final thoughts on the Breakfast Club. I mean, when I was a kid, they showed the posters at the movies. It was a bowl of cereal. I was always intrigued, and it's at the Breakfast Club. I didn't get to see the movie till like years later, on VHS probably. I was a I don't want to say I'm not gonna say obsessed because it was so weird, but just say I watched it a lot. Uh, I watched it a lot, and I memorized the lines for a while. I don't have them so memorized that much because I still watch it a lot, but not as much as I used to when I was a kid. Um, what makes the movie, man? It's just that they're serving Saturday Detention, and they're acting like us when we were bored in school. We're like this. Andrew's playing with his hoodie with his strings, and that's what I did in school. And I got in trouble. They talk about their parents uh, a lot. The parents putting a lot of stress on them. Brian, they're putting stress on him with his grades. John comes from a broken home. Allison, the parents ignore her. Andrew, good see him. Andrew, they're putting stress on him as an athlete, that he should probably act crazy and stuff. His dad actually that's what Andrew actually thinks of his dad. That his dad wants him acting crazy and do crazy fun things, whatever. Um, and Claire has problems with her parents. They're they're probably gonna get a divorce and all that. It's just funny. There's a lot of drama involved. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot about talking about their parents, talking about basically like high school life, what goes on and stuff. Bender, he's the. Sometimes you're like he's mean throughout the film, picking on the other students, but especially Claire. But that's what a hood rat is. They that's why even Bender thinks he's a criminal. He just acts bad all the time, but he comes from a broken home. So they're all basically talking about the problems of the film, and they're all being funny in their own way. Um, I could go on and on about this, but I've already went too long. Um, I have to mention the one that's very romantic because I'm a romantic at heart is Andrew and Allison. It's real romantic because Allison's like the ugly duckling. She look at the way she looks here, and then Claire dresses her up and she looks beautiful. So that's one cool. And then it's probably one of my favorite parts maybe. Well, from the romance side is at the end when Andrew and Allison start holding hands at the end. It looks like they're gonna be a couple, and he kisses her romantically, and she's all happy. You know, she's happy once in her life, and for that moment, kissing Andrew and forgetting for a moment about her parents ignoring her. That's cool. The one I don't understand is Claire and John. How at the end Claire is gonna kiss John and like him when John was treating her bad throughout the whole movie. I guess it's that whole girls like bad boys thing. I don't know. Brian doesn't go out with a girl. I feel sorry for him, but maybe he thinks he made some friends, and it looks like they're gonna be friends. The only one that questions if they will all be friends is Claire when they're sitting down, because Claire says that she doesn't think they're all gonna be friends. That they're all gonna backstab each other because they're too different, or they're higher than others. Like Allison would probably be in the bottom of the food chain because she's the loner. And the ones that are probably gonna be popular are Claire and Andrew because Andrew's the jock and Claire is the prom queen, supposedly the prom queen. I mean, I could say so much about this movie. I need to grade it before I forget. I give this movie an A plus. I'll give it an A plus plus plus. That's my highest I'll go, because I watched it so much as a kid and I watch it still now. I think I'll never get tired of watching this movie. Um, I do recommend you watch it. It depends what you like. Some people are not gonna like it, but I think a lot of people are gonna like it. This is 80s stuff. It came out in 1985, John Hughes movie. I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. I can go on and on and on, but I'm gonna stop there because I already went too long. Try to make my reviews at 15 minutes. I never make it. I'm a blabbermouth. Keep talking. So I recommend you watch the Breakfast Club. I gave it an A plus plus plus. If you like romance, you like it too. Drama, you like it too. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and the review from the Breakfast Club. I'm gonna mention I love you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I doubt it. All of you, none of you made it to this part of the video. It's so long, but don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I do need the likes. I need the subscriptions. I'm gonna leave you with this. The world will never be a perfect place, especially in this movie. The world will not be a perfect place, but we can all make it better. Till next time, my name's Alberto, aka Destroyer 48. Again, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Blah blah blah. Who cares? F the world. F stands for forget the world and all the corruptions in it. And I will see you guys in the next movie review. Take care. God bless. Bye.